Whoo-wee. All right. The Outback. Now, I can't really say it let me down. I should have seen her coming. But basically, you know, once a car gets about 10 years old and gets 100,000 miles on her, you just got to start planning for worst case scenarios everywhere you go. Okay? 10-year-old plastic, heat stress plastic, hoses. Oh, I went and took me a lunch break one day, and I'm just sitting, chilling in the car, and I go, that's not good. A little overheaty. Just saw it creep up. I'm like, ah, damn. So, turn the car off, pop the hood, check it out. Don't see anything majorly wrong. I noticed that my overflow reservoir right here was completely empty. So I went, oh, you know, my bad. I guess I wasn't watching that. What are the odds? You know, maybe it just, you know, forgot to keep it topped off, sucked up an air pocket, ran into the gas station, got some water, put some water in there, car started cooling off. I stayed for about another 20 minutes there, just in case. And wouldn't you know, when I make it back to the shop, I get out of the car, I smell coolant, and I went, damn, not good. And I could see the bubbles coming out of the top of the radiator core. So I was like, psh, need a radiator. So what are the odds that we're going to have an 09 Outback radiator in stock, let alone in town? Slim to none. Nothing OEM. But I did find an aftermarket one. Put the aftermarket one in Wednesday. And as I'm mounting up the fans don't mount up. Why don't the fans mount up? Well, the fans don't mount up because the radiator is slightly bent. So it wasn't dropped in the box, but it definitely looked like it was kind of damaged at the packing facility, because the box didn't have any damage on it, the foam didn't have any damage. I'm just presuming that just off the assembly line, it just wasn't built by the machine correctly. Meh. So I got this one. It's like, folks, if you have an 03 Outback, if you have an Outback with an H6 engine in it, and it still has an OEM radiator in it, I'm telling you now, go to the dealership and go order yourself a radiator with a whole new set of hoses. This radiator for a 2009 Outback with an H6 engine, 1 of 9 left. 1 of 9, folks. Don't risk it. Don't push your luck. If you're keeping your Outback from a 2009, go start sourcing parts right now. They are disappearing. There are 20 dashes left, okay? So if you got the sticky dash problem and you're like, I'd really like to replace this dash, take it seriously. They're running out of parts. I just bought, there's 200 engine reseal kits left. I got one on order. These things are getting hard to come by, folks. So if you're going to be like me and you're going to rock the old 6 cylinders, the 3 liters, you're going to have to start stocking up on never know stuff. So that's what I've been doing the last couple of days, dipping into the savings. and I've been stocking up on some stuff because I do not want to lose this car like I did my last Outback. Trying to find out where I put my subfans at. I'm looking for my subfans. That's not good. Where are my fucking subfans at? Oh, I probably threw them in the back hatch. That's fine. It's already been a very, 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 very long day. Yeah, there's my subfans. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't know, I also had a kick-ass 2005 Outback, and I still regret losing that one. I really do regret losing that one, and I kick myself for letting it go, but the buyout on it was just too sweet. I bought it for a song, and I had a really rare opportunity to get into a 4Runner, and I always wanted a 4Runner. I got a 2016 limited edition 4Runner. Mint condition. Rear-wheel drive, of course, not four-wheel, so make fun of me all you want. But the car was mint, single owner. See, on the other one, this didn't line up at the top because this was all tilted like probably like 2 degrees to the right. So yeah, I got sweet deal, $16,000. Nothing wrong with it. So I was like, dang, okay, time to bounce out of this Outback. I need some cash because the Outback was paid off. And I was already starting to have some, I was already at a moment where I was going to have to dump a couple $1,000s into it. And I was like, I really liked it, but I was having some problems that I was like, the head gaskets are going. I'm at 150,000 miles. If I pull that engine, all this other stuff I'm going to have to get. So I was adding it up, and I'm like, man, I was like, $800 worth of parts to flip this engine, because if I'm pulling that engine and I'm tearing it down, I'm doing it my way and I'm doing it right. Okay? And then I was like, because of the age and the stress of the radiator, I'm like getting a radiator. That's where the bill was coming in. Radiator, injector, just whole 9 yards. Like, I take my engine rebuild seriously. And one at the time was hang on, vertical stream. I'm gonna put the phone into a special mode because I think I found out why this mic keeps dropping. We're gonna try an experiment. There we go. All right, vertical stream, we're back on. So vertical stream has been getting really annoyed at me because my microphone drops out and then the camera mic picks up, but I don't get notification of mic drop, and because I can't watch the damn chat, guys, because I'm working. Guys and gals. I don't know it until I go back and chat and people are like, your microphone sucks. I'm like, sorry, not my fault. Anyhow, so the first time we had microphone problems, it literally was the microphone was just pooping out. The second time we had microphone problems, which was, I think, an isolated incident, because during the stream, the little lady was texting me and calling me, and I was muting her, and I think that the phone or the YouTube recording software dropped the Bluetooth mic because the phone switched it over to call mode. So what I just did right now is I put my phone into no one can talk to me mode. Hopefully that fixes it. We're gonna give it a shot. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to get a whole new standalone mic system for the vertical stream, which sucks, because that's more money. But you know, you guys are special, and you guys are special. I mean, I treated you guys good. You guys got your own. See, GoPro gets its own dedicated mic. You guys are costing me money. And vertical stream people, I might have to just spend some money on you next week. We'll see. We'll see how the YouTube paycheck comes out. I've been on a bit of an absence. Probably, gosh, guys, what? I don't think I've been doing any major videos except just some streams for quite a long time. I mean, at least 6 weeks. I think I ghosted you guys for a lot of June, July. God, man, 8 weeks. I'm telling you, STX and then STX wiped me out. I went to STX 2024 and I came back exhausted, dead. It took me a week to get back into motion. The shop was racked and stacked full of Baja Joe work, which I wasn't really too thrilled about, but hey, it happens. When you brag about being good at something, well, you're gonna get a lot of stuff. So I got what I deserved, I guess. So I had to power through all that work, even more exhausted. Then then Bosch sends me to Chicago. I hang out with Bosch for a week, even more exhausted coming back. I just haven't been getting any rest. I've been focused on all this exterior training. I really kind of left my YouTube priorities behind. So July, I think I'm gonna come back. You know, I'm kind of getting my mind back in motion. Going back to the gym helped out a lot because I was just not feeling good mentally and physically. I shouldn't be reusing these ATF cooler hoses, but they're in the mail. They're just a week out. I was able to finally get all the radiator hoses, but I really just got to get this car on the road. I need a car. All my cars are broken, guys. I got the 03 up in the air. You've seen it in the back of the stream. I finally got the transmission, I think, fixed. I found 3 junkyard 4 EAT transmissions, and I think I got enough parts to put them back together. There's just no parts for that transmission left. And all the parts that I was finding, I researched them up and down, and pretty much what I kept running into was send it to the builder in Tennessee. That's everything kept coming back to this one engine builder in Tennessee. He's like the Subaru EAT god. His name just kept coming up from every place I was going to. And they're like, oh yeah, you got to call this shop. He has everything. I'm like, why? I'm like, because he's the only one in the country right now who's capable of overhauling these transmissions and not having comebacks. We send him all these transmissions. So it took me a couple of weeks to get a hold of the guy because he's busy and he's not answering services efficiently. I mean, he's working. I don't blame him. He's working. He's one deep in what he does. So he's just one deep in everything that he's doing. I eventually got a hold of him and I told him what was going on. Surprisingly, he knew who I was. So he's like, yeah, I know you've been trying to get a hold of me. I saw you on this board, this board, this board. And he's like, I got a couple of voicemails. He's like, I'm just honestly swamped, dude. He's like, I just turned off everything so I could get work done. I was like, fair enough. I would do the same thing. But, you know, $4,000 I don't have. That's what it came down to. $4,000 I didn't have. I got all my business wrapped up. I got all my finances wrapped up into education and tools. Yeah, and I'm trying to be a responsible adult and pay down all my bills. Your man here is not good with the money sometimes. So yeah, so it's the price of collecting old cars. Can't have all the toys and have what you want at the same time. So after I get the 03 Outback running, I'm gonna have to let her go. You know, it's costing me about $1,000 in insurance a year, and I wasn't driving it because of the blown transmission. Even if I do keep it, like, guys, do I really need 2 cars? I mean, I had big plans for it. I was like, okay, this is the one we're going to supercharge. We're going to do a big supercharge on it. But, you know, adult Joe finally came out of hiding and was like, you got some fucking bills. So, adult Joe has been in charge for a while. And adult Joe said, put that money in. So that's kind of where I've been the last few weeks. I'm getting a lot of my affairs and responsibilities I've been avoiding. But I'm coming back now. I'm coming back. That's why I've been doing it. Just so I can keep you all out there interested in what's going on. So, totally haven't abandoned you. I mean, of all the Outbacks I want to keep, because this Outback always won. Super limited edition. They didn't make too many of these puppies. 3-liter, 5 EAT with Sport Sharp. It's got power. So much power, so much potential. The other one, the other 03, that was the one I wanted to do the STI conversion on. Okay, it's got bones for days. Okay, it's a speed density engine setup, which means that I can do whatever I want to the ECU. I don't have to system. The whole thing's designed around speed density, which is the perfect platform for a supercharger. So I wanted to do a supercharger, 6-cylinder, 3-liter engine setup I've been working with so many people, building, drafting designs, coming up with concepts, working out the numbers, the power numbers. And that's when the transmission blew up on it. Like, it literally just went boop. The whole thing's dead. The driven shaft snapped in half. The front differential grenaded, took out the case. There was nothing left to save. There was nothing in there to save. And I still don't know what caused it, guys. I really don't know what caused it. There was no codes, no nothing, no problems before that. I was driving on the interstate. I had cruise control on. I started flying. I saw the revs just climb, and it shifted into a gear, and then boom, and the classic sound of wee 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 wee. I lost everything. Tried to get help with insurance. Insurance didn't help. A lot of crying. A lot of crying. So I limped it for a while. And then I eventually just ended up having to get into another car. And instead of doing the smart move would have been just get it and get from A to B. That car. No, what did I do? Oh, the dream Outback. I found it. Such a deal. I told myself, what a deal. And I did everything I could to get into it. Drove me broke. So I wanted this '09 so bad that it caused me to make very bad financial decisions. And it really stretched my finances pretty bad. Don't do that. If you stretch your finances to the point to where you can't put money in savings anymore, then your finances are bad. And that's what it was like for a year with this car. Just not putting any money in the savings. And I went back to living check to check. I'm just now getting my savings redone. Don't do that for your dream car. There will always be dream cars out there. That's the lesson. Now what are we doing a year later? We're putting hundreds of dollars into it. As you put hundreds of dollars into another car with a transmission setup I don't even know is going to work. But I'm hoping that '03, if that transmission works, and I don't have any more drivetrain problems with it, like that slipping issue, I'm going to have to let her go. And I'm going to list it black market value. Because I know that there's some stupid people in Idaho. If you live in Idaho and you're watching the channel, you're not stupid. But you know who I'm talking about. There's some obsessed people like me who are ready to make some very bad financial decisions. And I'm going to black market that car so bad. I'm going to put it up for $16,000. And you might think, Jesus, Joe, who the hell's going to spend $16,000 on a 2003 Outback? I'm going to say, who has $16,000 to burn? That's who I'm going to say. I have a 2003 LLB edition Outback with 60,000 fucking miles. Zero rust. I'm stupid to let it go. Oh, and you know how much I bought it for? $3,000. I bought it for pennies on the pound. All right? Because this was told it had a blown engine. And they didn't want to put the money in fixing the engine. It didn't have a blown engine. It had 2 busted radiator fans and a fried radiator fan circuit because the grandparents' kids took it to the beach and they hit a sandbar and they didn't tell them. They just limped it back home. They parked it because the story was that I found out the grandparents have a beach house and the Outback was their beach house car. So it sat a lot in storage. And when the kids were old enough to go hang out at the beach house for the weekend because they're spoiled rugrats, they would steal Grandma and Grandpa's car. One day, they take it to the beach and it ground pounds out. They don't know why. The fans pick up a ton of sand, most likely. And yeah, they burn out. I'll be damned. So yeah, so when I saw it, I was like that price is too good to be true. What the hell is up with that? And so I'm FaceTiming with the person who's selling it, and I told him, I was like, can you just like pop the hood? I just want to see the damages, the engine. Pops the hood, nothing here. If that thing was overheating like he said it was, like there would have been radiator fluid everywhere. No. I was like, Nah, I was like, dude, that sounds good. And I says, I'll come pick it up tonight if you'll allow me. And I brought the cash. Best investment of my life. Because as soon as he was even weirded out. He's like, you want to drive it? He's like, I really don't want you to drive it because if you make the engine worse. And I says, you know what? Here, you can. And I drove it. I want to tell you what I noticed right away, okay? Within 20 seconds of me driving it, I saw the temperature going up. But then when I gave it some gas and I started going down the road, the temperature went down. You know what that told me? Now there's air coming across the radiator. There was nothing pulling air across the radiator. And I was like, this thing has a cooling fan problem. And as soon as I got out of the car, I was like, yep. I was like, good enough for me, I'll take it. I had it fixed within a week. I just had to wait for parts. I drove that car for like a year, and then all out of the blue, that transmission problem started. But I mean, that problem that I experienced with that transmission, that could be a result of that car just sitting for too long. I mean, that's the risk you run with low mileage vehicles. Okay? You know, this machines are designed to be used. They're not designed to be left alone. Part's already screwing me over, man. I'm missing a hose clamp. Not cool, man. I got shorted one hose clamp. I ordered new hose clamps. I always do new hose clamps. So, well, let me see what I got in the arsenal. Because these ones are for the bottom. This is for the bottom. I need a top hose clamp. That's a little hose clamp, little hose clamp. Not helpful, my man. Where's the old hose? Can I get? I'm just gonna recycle one. I don't like doing that because these are old and they may not have the tension that they need. But I need a clamp, and I'll take these old ones over a worm gear any day. Okay? The one with the least amount of rust. Here's a big pro tip. Pro tip, watch it. Start recording your screen. You gotta put radiator hoses on. Do not lube them up with pee-pee oil. No oil. No, 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 no. Get your brake cleaner. Okay? Brake clean that connection. Brake clean the inside of the hose. It's okay. It's gonna slide right on. Okay? Get it on there super fast. You might have to redo this again. Brake cleaner is made up of a lot of alcohol and other stuff that wants to evaporate. Look how it slides on perfectly, okay? As the brake cleaner evaporates, it's gonna create a vacuum. It's gonna make the best friggin' seal ever. That's how you always lubricate your hoses and slide them on from now on. Because if you use a petroleum product to slide those on, that rubber is going to absorb it, and it's going to start degrading the hose. That's not what you want. GoPro people, I'm sorry if I'm in your way. Don't yell at me. But this baby, she's got some North written all over her. I bought her with a little bit of rust. But this was the cleanest, lowest mileage one I ever seen. I got another Subi that is lined up, but I don't know when I'm going to get it. Because the customer just told me just the other day, as he approved more work of a Subaru, he's got a 2007 Premium Edition 3-liter mint friggin' condition. A lot of miles, but mint. I mean, mint paint, mint underbody, interior, everything. Like, he gets it detailed every 3 months, paint inside and outside. It's a beautiful looking car. And he's just kind of going, you know, I can't afford to just have this car laying around. He's only keeping it for like nostalgia, because it was kind of like his first real car he bought. Like, he's like, I've never bought a car new, and that was my first new car I bought. But now he's very, very well off. Okay? To the point to where he has like 2 other cars that are doing just fine. The guy drives like $1,000 Mercedes as a daily, and then just this Subaru is his like weekend joyride. But the Subaru navigation in it, everything's just beautiful in this car. So freaking beautiful. And he pays me to take care of it very well whenever it comes in for service. I mean, like, the car will have 500 miles on it, but the 3 months is up. He's like, change the oil. I wish I had that kind of money. But he said the greatest thing ever to me just this week. He just said, no kidding. He said, if something happens to us, he's like, you're getting the car because I know that you'll be the only one who takes care of it. He does not want to see the car go to a kid. So I was like, damn, okay. It's like, I would love to be related to you, sir. Thank you. Actually, that's like a real big honor. I already have a couple of customers. He's my second customer who said that if anything happens, you're getting the car. I have another customer that I've been taking care of for 10 years. He has a 250,000 mile 1999 5-speed Forester. All right. I mean, it's a good looking car. It's a good looking car. They just go to and from the grocery store and go to church. But I mean, seriously, that 99 Forester, it's got more bass on it than my cell phone. That's an audio joke, by the way. Let's get the camera angle straightened out. Here's the vertical. You can see what the hell's going on. Me. Come on, vertical. 303 viewers, 10 thumbs up. You can do better than that. I know you guys are good for at least another 10 thumbs up. Come on. Don't play me like that. So, big honor, you know, when a customer says, if anything happens, I'll make sure the car comes your way because you'll take care of it. That's a big honor. I don't know if they're going to go through with it, and they might just be saying that just to kind of make me feel good. But it does make me feel good. I mean, I've been taking care of these people's cars for, man, 10 years. It's a long time. And each one of them is just grateful. They're like, everybody else who has cars, they're like, we've watched those people just bounce in and out of Subarus or just have all kinds of problems with their cars. And then they just say, you need to go, I says, you need to just make Joe your technician. Make Joe your mechanic. You won't have problems. But I have to remind them, I says, it's not just me, it's the customer. I was like, it's you. I says, I'm only 10% of what's happening. I says, you, the customer, you're the real one that's doing something here. Because, you know, you're the one who's listening, you're understanding, you're doing your maintenance. You're doing your preventative maintenances that I'm talking to you about, and you're listening. I says, that's huge. And that's hard for a lot of people to do because there's a lot of other priorities in life. As you put your transportation as a priority. So don't blame people too hard if their priority in life is just to drive a car into the ground, trade it in, and get another car. There are people who are just fine doing that. I got a lot of customers like that. Hey, you know, it's time to change your transmission fluid. Hey, it's time for a tune-up. It's time for this, it's time for that. They're like, nah, let's get trade the car in. I have a few customers, they recommend me, or they always ask for me by name. But, you know, they're just like, oil change, rotate. Oil change, rotate. I think the most expensive thing they ever get is brakes. But as soon as a tune-up comes around, they're like, no, we're going to trade it out. You're like, why? The car has like 60,000. You know, just get a new car. Why put money into it? You know, tires and brakes. I'm just a tires and brakes kind of guy. All right. I mean, that's part of being an owner. So, I'm not too much in the realm of treating cars like disposable items. That's why I like working on cars. That's why I work on cars for a living. I just like repairing things. I like making people feel good about their investments. Bought a car. How do I take care of it? What do I do? Okay, well, here's your little list of things you got to do. And this is everything you're going to do for the life of the vehicle. Just prepare for these things to happen. Won't be a problem. I have one customer. Okay, she's got 200,000 miles on a 2012 Outback. She still has the factory transmission in it. The only thing that I've had to do to that transmission is put a torque converter in it, but that's Subaru said that torque converter is garbage anyways. So she's got the updated torque converter. Subaru paid for that one. I just did the head gaskets at 200K. And it really didn't need them. There was just a lot of other oil leaks on it, and she needed a timing belt again. And so was it? I was doing a tune-up, and I was like, "You got oil in your valve cover." She's like, "Ah," and she's like, "And you just told me I need a timing belt again." I'm like, "Yeah." And I says, "Yeah, and these rear cam seals are leaking, the front cam seals are leaking." And I told us, "Is like, listen," I says, "by the time we add all this up, you're like 3/4 of a way of just pulling the engine and resealing the whole thing and machining the cylinder heads." And she's like, "Let's just do that." You're like, the car's paid off. So while the engine was out, then I had a better look at all the subframe bushings, and I told her, I was like, "You know, these subframe bushings, they're shot." She's like, "Yeah, the car's always been riding weird." And I says, "Well, I'm here." And I was like, "I can just knock them out." So we did subframe bushings, and then she's like, "What about the struts?" We did struts. That lady dropped like $8,000 on that car. Just was like, "Yeah, let's do it." And she loves it. She's driving that. She drove the car around the block, and she came back, and she's like, "This car's never driven this good." I'm like, "I'm pretty sure it did at one time. It's just been 10 years. Frog in water, you know." But it's amazing how much better a car can drive when you rebuild cylinder heads correctly. You measure everything out, you adjust all your valves, you port and polish everything. Make anything run good. I am looking for But yeah, folks, it's when people are asking for the best automotive advice they can get, I always say, if you can put $25 into a savings account every week and only use that money for your car, you're never going to have a problem affording repairs on your vehicle. Now, that's a hard ask for some people. $25, $200 a month. I mean, but think about it, $25 a week. $25 a week. $200 a month. You're putting almost $2,500 into a savings account every year. But I get it. Times are tough. I'm really upset that these new clamps didn't come in. I ordered new clamps for everything. But folks, that is the honest truth right there. $25 a week. You'll never have problems with a repair again. Obviously, you're going to have to go a year without dipping into it. Obviously. But I have plenty of customers that over the course of 200,000 miles, yes, they have put about $10,000 worth of maintenance into their vehicle. Preventative maintenance, tires. Okay, they got tires, brakes, valve cover leaks fixed. Replacing spark plugs, bushings, struts. But the one thing that is still running great, they tell me, it's their engines. Okay? They always tell me, they're like, Joe, the engine still runs great. I don't understand. It's like preventative maintenance. Preventative maintenance. You got your oil changes done on time, if not early. So critical. So critical. I don't think enough people really understand that. How important that is. Change your engine oil before it's complete garbage. You want to change it while it's still kind of good. Because when you change your engine oil, you're not getting 100% of it out. I can't say this enough. You don't get 100% of it out. There's still like 15% of it left in the engine. No way to get it out. You can let that drain plug drip all night. You'll never get it all out. The only thing you can do is do another oil change right after that. Now, some people, they buy those engine oil flushes, okay? They do those performance oil changes. Those work really good. I like that. I like those. I do that on every one of my oil changes. It's only an extra $20 on top of your oil change. It's really good to do for your engine. It's good for the seals. It's good for everything, as long as you do it correctly. Be very wary of people who give you some weird advice out there, okay? Like one guy was trying to give advice. He says, yeah, I put a can of seafoam into the engine. And then he drives on that for 100 miles. I'm like, no, sir. No, sir, don't be telling people that. One, not all engines are the same. The engine that he was showing, all right, that engine was out of a, son of a bitch, I didn't put these clips on. Why didn't you guys say something? You're horrible viewers. No, you're wonderful viewers. You're wonderful viewers. I'll take it all back. No, I was like, what a lot of people probably didn't catch in that video, he's got like a 6-liter V8 engine. That's a ton of oil in that sucker. So yeah, it's gonna take a whole can. But you're gonna get somebody out there with like a little 1.3-liter engine. He's gonna put a whole can of seafoam in it. He's gonna blow the viscosity out in his oil. And he's gonna lock up his engine. You know, even I have said some dumb things, and I've admitted it, and I've had to take those videos down, or I've had to make a retraction statement. Probably, no. Be very careful with those oil cleaners. Use them as directed. Most of them say add to, like, based on the number of quarts that are supposed to be in your engine, put this amount of cleaner into your engine. When it's hot, let it idle for 10 minutes and drain it. That's it. Don't drive on it. No, don't drive on it. But seafoam is a good product though. And yes, you can put it in your engine crankcase before an oil change. For me, I got a lot of BG product, okay? And I use BG stuff, and BG stuff works great. I talk to the BG people all the time, and I learn more and more about their products. They share a lot of information with me. Seafoam doesn't talk to me, but I've used them before, and I've used Seafoam to fix a lot of other people's car. Some people accuse that BG is nothing more than just rebranded Seafoam, and no, maybe that's the truth, maybe it's not the truth. I don't know. But the BG people have been nice enough to share information with me, and I don't dare repeat it without their consent, because I do not know how confidential that information is. BG's a secret squirrel company. All right. But their evap core cleaner, ooh yeah, that's good stuff. I like the evap core cleaner a lot. Some people think that that is just some rebranded HVAC cleaning stuff, and there's a little bit of truth to it. A little bit. But the BG took it a step further, because I did do a test with it, okay? I did the Petri test with some bacteria. My mold guy, yeah, I got a mold guy. Everybody's got a mold guy, right? You guys got a mold guy? I got a mold guy. So he works at a research lab. So he's my Mr. Scientist for explaining stuff to me. And so he helped me set up like the control area. So yeah, we got some Petri dishes, and we got some evap core cleaners. I got the generic HVAC cleaning kit that everyone gets off Amazon that's used for residential coil cleaning. Then we use some product that will not be named, because I don't talk bad about that product for obvious reasons. Then I did the BG product. And I was astonished to see which products killed the black mold and which ones didn't. And I'll tell you, BG was the only one that killed the black mold. The other ones, I do not want to say their names for personal reasons, because the test that I did wasn't a huge test. Like usually when you do these tests and you're going to say a product doesn't perform to its standard, you better have a good scientific study set up, okay? You can't just do one test and say, oh, this one was the best. You gotta run about at least like 30 samples of that same test, and with different conditions. You know, could just have a bad can, who knows? And secondly is, you know, respect to the people who make that product. I would want to at least, you know, forward any information that I had documented to them and say, you know, I'm going to talk about it. These are my findings. This is my research. Would you like to contest any of it? And give them the opportunity. And they might come out and say, oh, you did a test that our product wasn't rated for. Like, we don't say we kill black mold. We say we prevent future growth, which is true. Like, there are cleaners that will inhibit bacterial growth, but some are not strong enough to actually eradicate existing growth. So, again, jumping the gun on something like that, don't want to make somebody look like a fool, get myself in trouble, because obviously I don't have the defense fund. I'm just a guy with a YouTube channel that talks about his experiences. So, I'm going to change this thermostat while I'm in here too. You know, you change the radiator, change the thermostat. I hope the water pump isn't gone. Well, you can see by the state of the underbody, This car, she's got some rust. She's already got some oil leaks happening. I replaced this coolant line right here because obviously engine oil is dropping on this, and this was swelling up with engine oil. But I didn't have any oil water mix, which is good. The 6 cylinders don't really have head gasket problems like the 4 cylinders did. The 6 cylinders were launched with a multi-layer steel gasket, while the 4 cylinders were still getting cheesed out on garbage stuff. And that's why it's very rare to have a 6 cylinder with problems. Whenever somebody says, oh, I'm selling my 6 cylinder Subaru because the engine has problems, it's got problems for one of two reasons. One, the customer didn't do the oil changes. Or two, shut up, Siri. You know, I'm also going to take this watch off. I'm going to do a reset on the mic vertical. Hang on. I'm trying to rule out all possibility of why the mic could drop, and one of them could be my Apple Watch. There you go. One of my theories is my Apple Watch triggered my Siri, and my Siri disconnected my mic. I don't know why. I'm speculating here, but it's just all the more reason why I need to get a hardwired mic for the vertical stream. I'm figuring it out. I'm just a little tight on money right now. But I put all the YouTube money into the equipment for you guys. I don't dip into that money. That's not my personal money. That is your money, so that way you can enjoy more Subaru work. So I think like my average channel growth, based on my growth, I'm getting like, I think after the taxes, like $300. So that's paying off a lot of the equipment that I already invested in. Laptops, studio editing software, microphones. So my YouTube money, if I stay at $300 a month, my YouTube money is pretty much spoken for the next 2 years. Put one of them guys in. Let's clean this trash up. But yeah, folks, YouTube is a hard business. Some people make it very successful, and they make that success look easy, but realistically, they have a huge support network. Like, I'm trying so hard to find a way to get a production team, because there's a lot of solicitors that want to do production for me, video editing, thumbnails, stuff like that, but a lot of them are just scammy. You know, they want like $500 a month, but they're like, oh, you'll get all this growth, won't you? I'm like, that's only if I can get you some content. Like, recording content and trying to keep a day job, that's pretty hard, believe it or not, because I can't record everything and I can't disclose everything. A lot of the videos that you get, aside from my live streams, they're already like 2-3 months old, and they're that way for confidentiality, okay? Because I do respect my customers, and I respect my place of business. So everything I make has a very, very delayed upload for confidentiality. It'd be nice to have my own shop, yes. I wouldn't have to worry about it. But in my area, the market here is just ridiculous. I have been on the lookout for a private shop, and the locations are either super sketchy, super ghetto, need a ton of money, or have something wrong with it on the land. Like one shop, I was like so close. It was 3 blocks from my house. I was like, hell yeah, I'm interested in this place. And I'm there with the agent, the owner's there. And I'm like, I was like, I've been driving by this place for a long time, and I've never really seen anything done with it. And the guy's just like, yeah, I've been, just wait for somebody to to buy it for me because I've had the place for blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I'm looking at the realtor and I go, okay, there's something up with this place. So I paid a couple $100 to get an investigation done. This dude has so many land violations. Okay? So many land violations for contamination. If I bought that place, I would absorb all the problems with it, and I would be responsible for taking care of it. This guy, according to the guy who pulled all the papers and did all the homework on the place, he told me that this guy has about another 10 years before the county is going to come after him for not fixing the contaminated soil, because he was just like dumping oil. So he had a little automotive shop, but he wasn't taking care of all his waste. So like radiator fluid was getting dumped on the ground, oil was getting dumped on the ground. He got busted, the business got shut down, and he was given a very, very long extension. And he's not doing anything about it. He's just put it up for sale, and he's just gonna write it out and see if somebody else wants to pay to fix the place. Just fucked up. But that would have been a really sweet shop. It was on a 1-acre lot. It was a 2-bay garage with an office, air conditioned, a 1-acre lot. So I could have, and it had a fence and railing, because it used to be a small little mom and pop dealership. But according to the county report, I would have had to have dug up all the concrete because everything underneath it was contaminated. I was like, what the hell was this dude doing here? You guys want to look real close? Hey, you see that? I'm gonna have to get a new one of these adapters, but the metal's been eroded away. And that's what happens with old radiator fluid, okay? It starts eating your metal. You have to flush your coolant. I'm a big proponent on flushing coolant at about 50, 60,000 miles. Again, change it while it's new, or change it while it's still good. Don't wait for it to be trashy, because by the time it's trashy, it's doing damage. Does that make sense? They're like, oh, it's like that stuff costs money. It's so expensive. It's honestly not. Like, even for my garage to do the job, parts and labor is like $220 to get a 100% coolant change. It's actually a good deal, because a gallon of Subaru coolant that's mixed with deionized water, it's really good coolant, 50-50 premix, you're getting 3 gallons of it flushed through your system. Yeah, it's a good deal. It's a really, really good deal. Be careful not to get any of this coolant in my eye too. I've seen too many people get eye injuries, burnt corneas, okay? Because they're working under a leaky coolant system, just like I was right now, and they don't got any safety glasses on. That coolant splashes in your eyes. Oh, your eyes are going to be so fucked up. You better have an eye wash station on standby. Do not rub it out. No. You need to like really flush your eyes. And like my shop, they didn't have it at all, and I made them get it because they don't understand that just because they have an eye wash station, that's just the beginning of the treatment before you take somebody to the hospital. Okay, somebody gets something splashed in their eyes. One, you got to go rinse it out with that water for a long time at the eye wash station. Then there's another eye wash station that's used, and this one's in a tamper-proof squeeze bottle, and it's like an eye restoration, like a shit ton of Visine, but it's a liter big, and you flush your eyes one more time with that. And what that's doing is that's sterilizing anything that might have gotten in your eyes. That's rehydrating your eyeballs, and then you bandage the person up and you take them to the hospital and you tell them what happened. But I've seen so many people over my years. They'd be like, "Oh, I got something in my eye," and I'd be like, "Go flush it out." And, yeah, I just it's feeling fine. I'm like, then the next day they look like they got fucking pink eye. There's so much bacteria that can be in old radiator fluid, let alone the glycol. What that's going to do to your retina. You don't want those problems, folks. So if your shop doesn't have an eye wash station, they can get an eye wash station. And those eye wash bottles, they're cheap. They're like $20 a piece. And the worst thing is, don't let people put things in front of the eye wash station. That bugs the crap out of me. Because if you're a shop owner, and you see people just like parking cars or parking garbage or just loading stuff around your eye wash station, if somebody had an injury at your shop, regardless if it was an accident or their fault, and they can't get to the eye wash station and they get permanent eye damage, you're fucked. You're honestly fucked because, that's just like OSHA violation right there. And I know that there's a lot of OSHA violations already at workplaces, but that's not one you want to have. There's already another big case that's going on at it's not an auto shop, but it's another factory here in our area, small factory. Okay, but their fire extinguishers and their AEDs, they were required to have them. They were not getting them recertified. They were pencil whipping them. How they got around that, I don't know. I don't know how the hell you do that, because the fire marshal has to come and check and recertify stuff. But there was an incident and there was a fire. The fire couldn't be put out because the fire extinguishers didn't work, and another person was injured, and he started having, I guess, like a small heart attack or something, but they needed to use the AED. Like, they had a first aid trained person on hand, and the guy was still kind of conscious. According to the report, they were saying, yeah, he's still kind of conscious. And he said, yeah, so I want first aid, do what you have to do. And they were hooking up the AED. It didn't fucking work. It had never been used, but it had been sitting there in the box for years, I guess. And by the time the ambulance showed up, the dude was already critical, and he died overnight in the hospital. His family's going after that company. And it's not looking good for them. I mean, there's already, they're already just saying, non-disclosed agreement has been settled. That's a lot of money. So if you have a workplace, you got to know what the inspections look like on your safety equipment. I do it myself, okay? I do it myself because I don't trust. I shouldn't say that out loud, but I have reason to do it. And as a building custodian for like the Air Force at the two bases that I was a building custodian for, the procedures that I was taught versus the procedures that are done here, I'm not too thrilled about them. So I kind of do my own little looky-loo. Like there's a little button test you can do on the AED to be like, is it still have a charge? Yep. Okay, cool. Now, we do have a fire marshal that does come through annually. And when he does show up, I do hang out with him a little bit. Because I've just been in some bad shops where they say they fix things or they say they have things and they don't do things. And it scares the living crap out of me, folks. It really does. There's so many civilian jobs where they think their safety systems and their emergency responder systems are set up correctly, and they're not. Fire extinguishers don't work. Fire extinguishers are expired. Emergency lighting doesn't work. Fail-safe systems don't work. But that's just me going overkill with previous military experience. You know, they hit that home really, really hard. And when you're in the military, you're like, man, all this inspection stuff is a friggin' joke. But you know, when you need it, it works. And you know it works, and you can trust it to work because you check it a lot. You do weekly checks, monthly checks, quarterly checks, whatever the interval is. The interval is there, it's recorded, it's confirmed, and then a higher authority comes in and validates it. Then I go to the civilian sector, I don't see shit. They're like, oh yeah, we got somebody that comes by. When? I don't know, he just shows up. Where's it documented? I don't know, he just shows up. When was the last time he was here? I don't know, he just shows up. Who is he? The guy. That scares the crap out of me. I was doing a little bit of DoD work when I first got out, and just trying to be the helpful person going over their systems, and they're like, why are you doing this? I'm like, because that's what we did in the military. Like, we look at all the systems. They're like, don't do that. It's like, we don't want any trouble. What does that mean? Why is it a bad thing? I mean, when you go into $1 million company and the McDonald's next door has better safety standards, almost like, I'm getting the hell out of here. It was like my first week. I remember asking the department head, and I says, hey, when was the last time you had your fire system checked? And he's like, why? I was like, just, asking. He's like, why? And I was like, so if I went up to this sprinkler head and tried to set it off, what do you think would happen? He's like, well, it should go off. I'm like, it should? You know the reason why I know it wouldn't go off is because I was looking for equipment and I found a closet and I found the water pump closet. And you know what was on the water pump for the fire arrest system? Was a padlock locking out the water. And it was 5 years old. Somebody locked it out for maintenance or whatever the hell, and nobody turned it back on. I took them down there and I was like, do you not see this? This is insane. Like, people could die if there was a fire. Like, well, who would start a fire? Like, that's your response? Who would start a fire? So he's like, well, turn it on. I'm like, I'm not turning it on. It was locked out for a reason. We need to get the fire marshal down here and have him figure it out. I don't call the fire marshal, and I found a new job. But I did tell everybody in that building before I left what I found and why I was leaving. And I says, if they were that arrogant to leave a problem like that, what else are they doing that they're putting your lives in jeopardy for? And that's why you should always pay attention to those safety inspections, okay? That's my thing. I think that's Joe's talk for the day. Understand safety. It sounds stupid, like, I don't need safety if everyone does the right thing. But you know what? Human beings are dumb. We make bad decisions. We have accidents. Accidents happen because we're tired or we're having a bad day. And that's why we have something called emergency action plan. An emergency action plan. All it is just a plan that you have in case something happens. It's like a fire drill. Hey, there's a fire in a building. What are you supposed to do as an employee in that building? Where do you go? A lot of people are like, oh, I'm going to run outside. Okay, well, you should have a rally point, right? Where's your rally point? I don't know. Well, one, you're going to want to go upwind, because for me, I'm in an automotive garage. If a fire broke out in here, there's a lot of bad chemicals that are going to start burning. I do not want to be downwind. So where's upwind? I don't know. Okay, you got a rally point. Everyone's going to the... Once everyone gets to the rally point, who's in charge of taking attendance? I don't know. Who knows who clocked in for the day? I don't know. Who knows what the shift is for the day so you know who was here? I don't know. So, I'm washing my hands right now. So, these fire drills, you think they're all silly-nilly, and you're like, yeah, whatever, Joe. You're just talking nonsense. But seriously, I've been in real scenarios like this. There's a fire. Everyone has to get to the rally point. You go to the rally point. We have an attendance sheet. We know who clocked in for the day. We know what the shift was. So you get to the rally point, 30 people. Let me count it off. Attendance, names. We're missing one. Who knows where this person's at? We don't know. What's their phone number? I don't know. Did they show up to work today? It shows they clocked in. Where the hell are they at? They could still be in the building. That person just went home. The building caught on fire and they went home. But as somebody who's in charge of safety, like, that scares the living shit out of me. And you're trying to get I honestly thought that person was still in the building. I'm telling the emergency responders, like, there might be somebody in the building, because I have a roll call sheet here that says I should have 30 people. I got 29 people. This person's not responding to their phone. It's going to voicemail. Start looking for a body or find somebody who's took shelter in a room. And those guys were like, going in the ceiling and looking for a body. It was like 4 hours after the incident. Finally, the guy answers his phone. Like, he calls us back. He's like, "What's the problem?" You're like, "Dude, where are you at?" He's like, "I'm at home." "Why are you at home? Why didn't you go to the rally point? There was a fire." He's like, "Yeah, there was a fire. I don't want to be there. I went home." He's like, "Do we have work tomorrow?" I was like, "I don't know if you're gonna have a job tomorrow." He's like, "I'm not in charge of what's gonna happen, but yes, you should show up to work. People want to talk to you. People want to know that you're alive." Like, a lot of people were really scared that you were dead. He's like, "Why are they?" Like, he just didn't get it. Now, can you fire somebody for that? No, you can't. Can you be really upset with them? Yes, you can. You most definitely can. And there was people who were really upset with this person. He eventually ended up leaving on his own accord, but yeah, I think he just left because of the hazing. Because it wasn't like every time he'd like go on a lunch break or go have a, he'd always call out, "You know what's that?" And he's like, "Fuck you." But why is that such a big deal for folks like us? Is like why do we make a big deal of it? Well, one, because it was trained in us very, very hard. And two, it's a government gig. Right? They take that stuff seriously. Private sector, maybe not so much. They'll just be like really pissed off. But DOD, you don't mess with safety. All right, so we're going to be doing a vacuum fill here. And we are not, there we go, now we're sealing. I didn't have the other valve closed. Ha 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 ha. Come on, GoPro people, pay attention. Vertical people, you see me? Yeah, you see me. Okay. Chris wants to know how many hours I flagged this week. How's 10? How's 10 freaking hours? Because I haven't been getting anything done, folks. I have a lot of big reasons. One, I have a lot of huge work that I'm doing, okay? A lot of big work. We got that engine to put back together, okay? I just got the heads in from the machine shop. I just did 2 huge interior jobs. They're getting closed. They got closed out tonight, so I'm going to see them flagged tomorrow. Had to do a heater core, 8 hours. Had to do an evac core, another 8 hours. There was a big network diag job I was doing. I just had some really, really, really big jobs that just took multiple days to get done. I don't do services. I don't get the gravy work. I got people down there. That's their job. That's their responsibility. And I feel guilty for if I take a ticket out and I'm be like, tune up, cleaner. I feel really bad about doing it. And I'll always check in with my dispatch office. Hey, you know, I'm kind of low. It's a Thursday, so these guys have had their 3 days to do something. I'm going to take this. Is it okay? And he's like, yeah, you're right. So I'm a top tier to be doing the work that I'm paid to do, that I'm compensated to do. Not to say I don't want it. I really do want it, but I want to give them first opportunity. So if they say, hey, I'm tired, I don't want it, you can have it. super, okay? If I see a high mileage car that is written up for an oil change, I'm going to take that. Because one, it's an old car. I specialize in the older vehicles, and I want to give them the look over that they need for. And the owners are usually a lot more grateful that a more senior person looked at their vehicle and gave a warm, fuzzy feel, like vehicle right here. As a 2012 with 150, looking at his, and he just came in with a drivability concern, and I good job. Your car, you know, us is we don't have any drivability, lack of TLC. We got to do some TLC with the vehicle, meaning that like your spark plugs are due, your timing belt is due. I eventually figured out the problem was his control valve body. There's no code for it. Let me see if I bring up the report here. Don't worry, GoPro. I'll come back to you. There you go. I took a screenshot. You'll see another movie about this hopefully soon. But basically what's happening is his lockup solenoid is kicking on. Falling out 50%. And so this passes the torque converter. It is just Gen 1. So those control valve bodies, they're really only good for you got 150. Chris says, why are the people in the comments hating on flat rate? Good techs beat the time by half constantly. Yeah, you know what, Chris, you're right on. You know, people are going to talk. People who want to talk negative are going to talk negative. There's no change about it. Okay. I mean, I would love to be a salary tech, but good luck finding a shop. I'd have to open up my own shop. Okay, in order for there to be salary techs, and that is honestly like what I want to do. I have a couple of venture capitalists who, together, I have two of them, and they've come up with $50,000, and they just said, if you can find a shop, you buy a shop, $1,000 towards your first salary, and they just want to have partnership of the shop, which is great. Is an accountant, and he says he'll run the books. I get one is a he's a lead contractor, and he wants to just kind of oversee management a little bit. And I'm like, I would love to have your assistance in my first startup. That would be amazing. So the fact that they want to babysit me, but not expect any return on their investment for the first 5 years, that says a lot. I mean, they're just big fans of what I do. I work on their vehicles. They love me. So they were dead serious. But I told them, I says, 50 grand ain't enough to break ground. I says, not the way that the real estate market is in this area. There's two realtors, and they found out who they are. They're just straight dicks, they said. But they came in and they bought up all the garages. And they just leave them alone. There's like, the lease is too high, the pay is too high, and they're just sitting on real estate. I don't know how they got it. I don't know what's going on. It's just some sort of like, they bought it and now they're taking a loss on it. And he says, don't even look at those places. Chris wants to know if I work in a dealership. I do. Core Premium says, but you don't mess with 30s and 60s. If one does come around, it's because my dispatch gives it to me, and my dispatch hands out my hour sheets. So he'll be like, "Hey, or are you going to make hours?" And I'll be like, "I'm grateful to take a 30 or 60." So I do have people who are looking out for me, but I'm not sniping. if that's what you're asking. I won't go through the rack and be like, no, okay, I'll be cherry picking stuff. Like, I'll actively go through, just like I went through with that old. I was like, bag job, I'm gonna figure it out pretty fast. I get to keep it, and that's just the people will follow in my foot. Waste all your time trying to snipe tickets. People eventually are going to figure it out, okay? And they're going to start shaming you for it. And that's something you don't want to be shamed for. But ultimately, like, if you're sticking your neck out for other people and trying to make sure that they're getting what they need, like, it'll come back on you. Like, I have people down the line who look out for me, and they'll be like, hey, like, I'm not going to get this job done today. Do you want to stay late and do it? Yeah, I'll stay late and do it. I'm a big boy, I'll do it. So sometimes I get a PDI. Neil said, talking about, have you got those with automatic gate? You're asking for? Huh? There it is. Let's get this thing set up. They passed the vacuum test, so it's been holding vacuum for a while. I'm not alone in the garage. YBN, what is your favorite ratchet? I'm going to let you know that my favorite ratchets. I'm a snap-on boy when it comes to ratchets. Like, I'll go blue point on a lot of stuff, okay? I got some Matco tools, but ratchets, I like them. I like the way they feel. I like the weight. I like the rubber grips. Everything about them is predictable. And this is one of my favorite ones right here, okay? This came out a few years ago, but you can change the angle of the head, or you can get it on something, and you can pump it action like this. So it's really good for tight places. About a year ago, they came out with a smaller version of it that comes in a inch. Head on it. I'll make a long-term investment on ratchets. I do Tecton ratchets, but for a lot of specialty stuff, again, a stubby 270-degree ratchet head here with a 3/8 drive. These three ratchets right here, I can cut a lot of time down on jobs. Oh, here's the other one. There's the fourth one. It's a 3/8 style. I can do a lot of work that would normally take 4 to 5 hours to do, and one of these or two of these ratchets is going to easily cut an hour off that job because I'm going to get around what I'm doing. GoPro people, this is what I have right here. Sorry, GoPro. But yeah, is there a part number on this? Probably not. I can't see. It's in the catalogs, guys. Yeah, somebody could say you're holding $1,000 for the ratchets there. Nah, not necessarily. You get everything when you see the new stuff come out. That's when it's its most affordable because they're trying to flood the market. So this was $125. These came as a set. Well, there's this one with a 3/8 version of it, 1/4 inch. This was $125. 110. Okay. When you like, hey, I'll get it in a few months, or I'll get it next year, I'll wait for it in a flyer, that might be too late. Now it's going to be marked up. But your tool distributors, they get heavy discounts when a product is first launched, because Snap-on wants to flood the market. So that's the time that you might get it at like cost plus 10. Shaw Struck says flat rate needs the end. To a point, yeah. To a point. But is good for some people's work. Flat rate is not good for other people's type of work. I think that's the best way to explain it. A big art will be like, flat rate is amazing, I love it. Oh, damn. The hose fell out. Okay, so with like flat rate versus hourly pay, here's my feeling on it. I would love to be salary, okay? But the knowledge of what I have, my knowledge, my tools, everything that I'm worth, I'm like a $125,000 tech, to be frank. That's what I think my value is worth. Okay? Now, somebody equal knowledge and experience as me, I would say is worth about $90,000. I give myself a big pay bump, all right? Because I'm coming with all my own special tools. Some of the stuff I've made myself, and I'm very proficient in stuff that I use. 5-gas analyzers, I own one. I use it constantly for diagnostics. AC leaks, right here, okay? CO2 tank. If your shop is having problems with AC leaks, you need to learn how to chase down an AC leak with carbon dioxide, okay? You really do. I'm blowing it out of the park. I am so mad that I put off that investment. That was a huge investment. A huge investment. And I'm going to tell you, first off, do not buy a used CO2 tank. I had to buy a brand new one, and I bought it from a certified distributor. Do not buy CO2 tanks off of Amazon. They will break on you. They will break on you. I went to a welding store, and I learned about tanks, and they were very quick to say, do not buy a tank online unless they have proof it was made here in America, because there's so many online vendors selling Chinese tanks. And he says they will die on you. So I had to pay a pretty penny for this tank, and this tank is the latest model. He says that the standard changed on it, and that's why there's a lot of cheaper tanks on the market, because they're just getting rid of the old stuff. And as soon as you try to go refill those old tanks, they're not, it's just some stores are going to stop servicing them because this is the new safety standard. He had like a little paragraph reading. It made sense to me at the time. I didn't think he was like trying to like rip me off or anything. But overall, like, I paid $225 for a 20-pound tank, charged. Then I had to buy a regulator assembly. That was like another $100. The regulator assembly came with some really bad gauges on it. I like liquid filled gauges, so I bought me some liquid filled gauges, $10 a piece, installed those. I upgraded my line with surge arrestor on it. I know you really only need that if you got like oxyacetylene, but still. I've seen a lot of explosions happen in the manifold. This CO2 tank has 1,000 PSI behind it. And yes, I know it should be chained up. Okay, I'm not done using it. Chain it up at the end of the day. Leave me alone. But it's got 1,000 PSI, and I wanted to make sure that when that air comes into the manifold, it's not detonating, because it can do that. Like, That's a really common problem for oxyacetylene torch kits. All right, you're opening up your oxygen, you're opening up your acetylene, and you don't have your lines opened up. Boom, explosion, and it can go back into your stuff. There's horrible videos of that happening. People just opening up tanks and kablooey. So nobody touches this but me. I've had my training on using tanks. Everything explodes, okay? Everything under pressure can explode. I know I make jokes about safety squints and stuff like that, but I do take my safety very seriously. Like, one other big safety thing that I do is I will get my blood checked every day because I work in a highly contaminated area. All right, engine oil, ATF, brake cleaner. I'm not always wearing gloves, and I'm stupid for not doing that. You know, sometimes it's a really sweaty day, and I can't just keep gloves on my hands because I'm sweating through them profusely. And that sucks to say. So I make sure that I don't have any in my body. Also, the other reason for doing that is the reason I want to get annual blood work done. Okay, get your urine checked, get your blood checked, get all that stuff checked. The reason why you want to do this annually is so you can build a health report. If for whatever reason you had a workplace problem, you now have a trend of health to say that this was not an ongoing issue. You were until you were exposed to something. We have to do this to protect ourselves as blue-collar workers. Do not think your insurance or your workman's comp is always going to be there for you. If you're a union worker, you know, your union can only help you so much. Okie doke. Give them the ammunition that you need. So yes, always get an annual physical. Blood, urine, get your O2 level checked. What's your O2 level? Well, it's a really simple test. They just measure the amount of oxygen that your blood can carry. There's a lot of really important tests you should get. It's just part of your annual physical. And if somebody says, well, I can't get that because I don't have health care, well, that was written in the Free Healthcare Act, okay? That did exist. And I really wish it would come back because I really want people to have good health. Whether you have a job or not, because the cost of treating somebody with a 5-year good health record, like all known, who has records of 5 years worth of health checks, whether you have problems or not, that person is statistically cheaper to treat, okay, than somebody who doesn't have a health record. If you haven't had a physical and then you go in, you got some weird random problems, that doctor's not going to know where to start with you because he's like, I need a baseline of health, and he's going to waste a lot of time running tests. But hey, you got 5-10 years of good health documented by your physician. All of a sudden, he's like, okay, like I can start moving on some ideas for treatment and going in the right direction. It's nothing different than diagnosing cars. Customer comes in on a regular to the same shop, gets oil changes on time. Now they got a random issue. You're a lot easier to diagnose because I know you have maintenance history. And I don't have to guess, and I don't have to give you 50-50s. I don't call it guessing. It's called it's called deductive reasoning. An educated guess. But that's the way I look at it. Oh, I'm sorry, that sounds like a little bit like a rant. I don't want it to be a rant. And don't make it political, guys. Don't make it political. I'm not a party person. I don't believe in this party system. I just want people to be taken care of, whether they're assholes or good people. I spent enough time punching down on people that I just realized all it did was just make me a mean person. It's a lot easier being a nice person than it is being a fucking asshole. It's the truth. Hey, let's fire it up. See if we got any leaks. I shouldn't have shut my hood so early. We should at least let it warm up and make sure my fans come on, right? Let me check out GoPro chat, see how you're doing. Did the GoPro stream shut down? Okay, now the GoPro stream is up. Hey, Garage Monkey's here. Hey, he says, I'm special, it's okay, bud. I deleted my YouTube account to start over. Oh, WB is calling out my bad math. Yeah, that does sound like some bad math. Unbleached, good to see you again. You were around from the beginning. Uh, 2015 Crosstrek. At what coolant temp do the fans turn on? Okay, that's a good question. So, off the top of my head, without looking directly into service data, kind of shotgun some numbers here. Your thermostat does not open up. Your thermostat starts opening up at about 170, 175 degrees. And then at about 190 degrees, it becomes fully open. And that's when your ECU says, now we can start regulating the temperature by using fans. But if the ambient temperature is good enough, or you have enough air just coming through the radiator from driving, your fans may or may not come on, okay? Now, at about 195, you will start getting some fan regulation. And this, we're only talking about coolant here. We haven't got the AC yet. I know there's probably some keyboard mechanic going, the AC fan! Chill out, buddy. Yes, if you turn your AC on immediately, you're going to have a sub-fan kick on, and that's going to start pulling some air through so that the condenser can do its job. You're exactly right. If you have a single fan system, which Subarus don't, Subarus have a 2-fan system, but some other cars like Mitsubishi's, they do have a single fan system. They will be on all the time. Now, with that model of Crosstrek, if you don't have a scan tool with bidirectional support to check and see if your fans are coming on when they need to come on, because I would just recommend you go get the Topdon Bluetooth tool for your cell phone. It's like 50-60 bucks when it's on sale. It's in my Amazon store, so just click in the description, go to my Amazon store, you'll find it. That'll give you bidirectional support. You can command your main and sub fan on. But you could go into your fuse box and you put a 10 amp fuse into your PDI fuse. So vehicle's off, keys out, vehicle's off. Install your PDI fuse in your fuse box. Then turn your key to the on position, but don't start your engine. So we're in a key on, engine off. Your fans are gonna go high, low, high, low, high, low, okay? Because when the PDI fuse is installed, your check engine light's gonna start blinking like this, like you have a misfire. But that just means that you're in pre-delivery inspection mode. So if you have an AC system with a clutch on it, the clutch is gonna click on and off. Your fans are gonna go high, low, high, low. And it's just a quick little function check. Thumbs up for that tip. I use that all the time in diagnostics, folks. All the time, especially on AC for Subaru. That is like the easiest test to run. The first thing I always check on a customer who says, I don't have AC, is put the fuse in, see if my fans work. See if they go high and they go low. That's really important. Then I'll get the AC machine, I'll make sure my pressures are good. Make sure my Freon level's good, stuff like that. But that gets overlooked all the time. People start recommending condensers, compressors, evaporator cores, and then they're like, Joe, it didn't fix it. And I go, check your fans. Your fans don't turn on. Why? You got bad fans. This car heats up quick, by the way. Oh yeah. I bet you she's gonna be a lot better at regulating temperature because she was doing a really good job getting hot really quick. And that was probably because of the shitty radiator. Maintenance on a high mileage vehicle that you buy with high mileage, the only way to make a perfect maintenance record is just tear it all apart and put it back together, right? Oh well, I tried. I'm working on one case study right now I'll put together for you guys, but I'll give you a little teaser. I have a shelf back here of parts that I keep. So I got a shelf of parts that I keep. But anyhow, I like to do case studies and stuff like that. Whew, getting brake fluid on my hand. Oops. Danger. That'll dry your skin out faster than shit. Okay. Brake master cylinder here, okay? Now, customer's concern was, intermittently, the pedal goes to the floor. And there's a code. The check engine light's on. Check engine light's on. The hydraulic control unit for the ABS is setting a code for low pressure in the left circuit. And if you go through the trouble tree for that code, it literally results in you replacing the hydraulic control module. Oh my God. That procedure is written so wrong. I've already submitted a report to headquarters and said, you are omitting the most important step. Is the master cylinder okay? Okay? Because the hydraulic control unit is a garbage in, garbage out device. This builds your pressure, then it goes to that unit. So if this has a bad O-ring in it, which it does, okay, it's got blown out O-rings in here. What's going to happen to that computer? That computer is going to get a bad reading and it's going to trip a code because that's what it's programmed to do. Computers are garbage in, garbage out devices, folks. They're fucking smart. All right, they're smart at what they're programmed to do. But ultimately, if you feed it garbage information, it's going to give you a garbage result. And that's what it did. And this poor gentleman was quoted a $1,500 module plus install. I'm so glad he came here for a second opinion, because I looked at it and I was like, dude, you got all the signs of a bad master cylinder. And he's like, well, what about the brake booster? I'm like, no, it's not a brake booster. That's a different feel. I was like, we have a master cylinder. And now, taking the master cylinder out, disconnecting the lines, and doing a visual inspection, that is one way you can do it, okay? This is a really easy vehicle to unbolt it from. Okay, you got 2 brake lines, and then 2 more bolts, you pull it out. There is an O-ring you should replace if you have to reinstall it. And there's no new O-rings for this assembly, unfortunately, okay? But pulling this plunger out, you might be like, hey, Joe, yeah, just take it out of the car, pull the plunger out, look at it, see if it's okay. Yes, that is one way of doing it, but sometimes these plungers, they do get really stuck in here, especially if there is a problem. And you'll do something called contaminate the crime scene. You could ruin an O-ring just by pulling it out, because they're technically not meant to be serviced or disassembled anymore. Years ago they were. But I have a really cool tool. I like cool tools. And it was fairly cheap. I only paid about $99 for it. Brake pressure test kit. From the Hot Rod Boys. Okay. I don't use it that often, but I'm glad that I have it, because this is good documentation of doing a test. All right. I got all my line adapters for calipers and brake master cylinders. So I hook up these gauges to my 2 master cylinder lines. I step on the brake pedal, or have an assistant do it. And I tell them, like, hold on to the pedal. And I watch the pressure bleed off. It built pressure, but it doesn't hold pressure because it's bleeding out. Right there, I said, that's enough evidence. I need to sell you this. Fucking duh. I was really happy I had that. I honestly bought that about 6 years ago, and I've used it 3 times. But the times that I use it, I'm really happy that I have it. Especially on some Ford pickup trucks, okay? I get some square bodies that come in every once in a while. And they're kind of like, hey, like, I got a problem. I don't know what's going on. It could be this, could be that. One guy, he had a bad caliper. And he was being told he needed a new brake master cylinder. Why? Because that's always what it is, right? And I says, no, did you ever have it properly diagnosed? Like, I'll go with a guess any day. What's a brake master cylinder for a square body? About 150 bucks. Then you got to pay somebody to install it, pay somebody to bleed it. I says, you're paying 300 bucks for that? I says, what if it doesn't fix it? Is the guy going to charge you for the work? And he says, well, of course he is. He did the work. I says, no. I says, honest to God, ask him. I don't charge people for something. If I'm wrong, I won't charge you for it. If I'm guessing, I'm telling you I'm guessing, though, okay? I will make it very clear where I will say, I'm not 100% sure. I got a 50-50. Your maintenance is really crappy. We don't know if it's this or that. So I would rather catch up on maintenance, because that's what the car needs anyways, and reassess the situation. Because 9 times out of 10, doing maintenance can fix a problem. So can that be interpreted as a guess? Yes, it could. But what am I telling you? I'm giving you good reason for my deductive reasoning. I'm deducing what it is based on evidence collected. And that is, yes, a proper way to diagnose. If you're running out of options and you're down to a 50-50, cons. Why is it this and why is it not that? Lay it all out and be honest with your customer. Say, I've done all these tests. This is what I've narrowed it down to. A couple of things. One of them should have been taken care of on your maintenance plan. So There's no other way I can tell if it's good other than replacing it. The other thing could be a problem, but it does also rely on this other component that has to be replaced at a set maintenance schedule. So let's just do your maintenance and reattack the situation. All right. A really, really good story about that was a timing belt job. Okay. A guy has an intermittent cam position sensor problem, and his car has 150,000 miles on it. He needs a timing belt, and he's never done a timing belt. And I said, sir, like, this can be a problem with your belt being worn out. We should do a timing belt. You've said you've been the original owner, and you've never done the maintenance for this. Let's do this. And he's like, no, it just needs a sensor. Okay, that fucking sensor is $300 for one, and I've never replaced one in the 10 years I've been doing this under Subaru. I've never replaced a Subaru camshaft sensor, ever. Secondly is, it's a worn out system. We need to address that first. Uh-oh. I gotta get my paint. I should get a paint pen on that. Anyhow, guys, listen here. It's late. It's been wonderful hanging out with you. It's past 9 o'clock Central Standard Time. Fluffy's gonna be on tonight, so I'm hoping he goes live and I get to catch his stream. Maybe he'll invite me on, Fluffy, invite me on. And I'm gonna have a Coors. I'm pretty worn out. I'm gonna have to be here tomorrow at about 7 o'clock in the morning. I got a lot of hours to close out, okay? So if I'm gonna make a paycheck. But yes, this is the disadvantage sometimes of flag, you know? You don't make your hours for a week because you're doing huge jobs. You don't close them out in a week, so your pay rolls over to next week. The next week, you know, I might see some big plus hours. But that's why I budget for it. If you're a flag tech, you need to put your finances on a monthly pay schedule. Don't live, because if you don't do that, you're going to live week to week. So I hope everybody learned something today. I hope everybody enjoyed the stream. If you liked it, say something in the comments. If you didn't like it, say why you didn't like it in the comments, okay? If you like me, say it in the comments. If you don't like me, say why you don't like me. Other than that, it's been great hanging out and talking with you. I've had a great time. I hope you had a great time. Enjoy it. There's a thumbs up. Holy crap, who gave me somebody threw $5 at me. Let's find out who that was. Is it in the chat? Come on, chat. If you're in the chat and you threw that $5, who you because I can't see. Learning with Juan wants to know if I'm going to go live tomorrow. Man, I'm trying to get the Saturday live streams going on. I'll see if I got the energy. I've been working a lot of Saturdays and I'm coming home at 5 o'clock and trying to set up a stream by 8 o'clock. It's burning me out, and the wife is kind of getting mad that I'm kind of not sharing my life with her anymore. But let's try a comeback to her, huh? Let's see if I'll talk her into letting me do a quick stream. Juan, who threw that $5 out there? Do you know? Thanks, George. George says, God bless. God bless you too, man. Michael, can you work on my 1944 Chrysler? Dude, if it burns gas, I'll work on it, okay? That's a pretty easy engine to work on. All right, I'm just scrolling through to see who threw the sticker out there. My man, I'm sorry. I always want to give a shout out. Whoever drops cash in the chat, I'm not seeing it. I feel bad for not giving you a name drop. So if somebody knows who it is, email me so I can give a shout out in the next stream. I'm getting called out on my math again. Sorry. It's been a late day. No, it won't let me see. I don't know why. Folks, thanks again. My cooling fan just kicked on, so that means everything's working just fine. Let's check out the temp gauge. Temp gauge is perfect. No, it's a little high. Look. right, so I'm gonna hang out. I'm gonna hang out with the car a little bit. Russell, thanks for the $1.99. I love you. Yeah, see, Russell's super chat showed up, but I don't know who dropped the other super chat. But thanks, Russell. Really appreciate it. Gotta go, guys. GoPro. Thanks for hanging out. Gotta go. Juan, you're hanging out on the GoPro now, huh? You devilish guy.